What up, YouTube? Supernova here. Here to make another video about the 350Z. I got the tent stripped from the door windows, so the windows are nice and clean, and I can actually see out of it. Another thing I did, I finally got my new rubber put on. And like I said, these tires cost me $1,000, but they well worth it. See, 275, 35 ZR18s. So they're very, very good tires. I get damn good traction with them, and they're very, very quiet compared to the ones that had the little humps on the inside. And I also got my new camera arm installed. Y'all seen in my last video that I took it out, so I got the new one put in. And when I went to go get my tires put on, they went on ahead and did an alignment for the front and back. I'm going to have to disconnect these CV shafts and take them out of the axles, because they're making this little clicking noise. I watched a YouTube video. I think the guy's name is Anthony or something like that. Him and his friend Trevor's got 350Zs, and I watched the video about the clicking noise you hear in the rear end when you go to take off from slow speeds. It's actually, if you undo the axle shafts, undo these nuts and the locking pin, take the shafts out, clean them off real good, and he recommends using Loctite, but just to make it easy, in case these things do go out, I would put grease, some high quality grease. And if you really want to find some high quality grease to put on your CV shafts to eliminate that clicking noise, I have some right here. I bought this online. I bought 3 tubes of this stuff. I use this on my work truck. AMSOIL synthetic polymer EP grease, truck and chassis equipment. Very durable. They actually did a 1,000-pound test on these. Most grease, you smash them with 1,000 pounds of pressure, they'll just splatter. This stuff don't. It will not splatter. It will actually retract itself. When you pull the 2 contact points away, they'll actually take shape again. So very good grease. That's what I would put on there. Just in case the CV shafts were to go out, it'll be a lot easier to change. So, but that guy on YouTube I watched explaining about the axle noise, he uses Loctite, but it's all up to you. If you want to use Loctite, that's fine, or if you want to use grease, that's fine too. It's just to eliminate the clicking noise, and make sure you clean the rust with I think he used brake cleaner. But yeah, just head over to Anthony. It's Anthony something. I can't remember the name of his channel, but him and his buddy Trevor's got 2 Z's. So, and he was at the Z shop getting it done. But I mean, if you ever want to do it yourself, you don't have the money to pay for it. It's real easy. All you gotta do is take this pin out, get you a big socket and an impact wrench, break that loose. Or if you don't have an impact wrench, set the car on the ground, set the emergency brake on, and break it with a breaker bar. And then what you do is get up underneath here. Alright, that goes to the wheel, and you undo all these nuts and bolts right here. It'll actually drop out. You just pull out maybe 1/2 inch to 1 inch, and it'll drop down, and you might have to take a little hammer and kind of tap on this end from the outside of the wheel, and just tap, very lightly. You don't want to hit too hard because you'll damage the threads. And you just drop it out, clean it out real good, hit with some Loctite or some grease, whatever you prefer, and then you'll be good to go. So, yeah, I told you I got me some new tires. What else I do to it? Oh, I finally diagnosed the HID problem. I told y'all in my last video that I was trying to find out why my HIDs were not working. I replaced the headlight assemblies, I replaced the bulbs, and they're still not working. So the other night I went on ahead, it was actually cool out and it was feeling good, and I was just, you know, feeling around. I got me a test light and I unplugged, I don't know if you can see it, this plug right here. I don't know if I can get the camera to focus. Anyway, you got the main harness right here. You got a plug right here. It goes directly to what's called a ballast. I finally found the technical name for it. It's called a ballast. I unplugged the main plug right there going to the ballast, and I hit it with a test light. The ballast is getting power, so that tells me the ballast has to be bad. It's not allowing the power to go through. The ballast is not sending the power to the HID bulb itself. So I got on Amazon, I ordered 2 used ones. They're about $54 a piece. Very, very, very good condition. They're on the way. I'm away for them to get in, and once I put them on, I'll make a video and show y'all, you know, what they look like, and to give y'all some tips on diagnosing HID problems for factory Nissan Z's. Alright, you change the bulb. If your headlight assembly don't have no condensation or anything like that, you change the bulb, it still ain't working, but all your lights are working, your high beams are working, get you a test light, unplug the ballast, the main plug that goes to the ballast itself. If you're getting power to that, then that means the ballast must be bad. So I got 2 new ballasts coming in because both of them came off those headlights that had the 2 gallons of water in them. Okay, so they're coming in. Last night my AMSOIL package came in from my independent dealer. I bought an AMSOIL package for that SUV, and I bought an AMSOIL package for this. And the reason why I call it an AMSOIL package, because in a package, when I buy a used car, new car, it don't matter what it is. Alright, anytime I go to do fluid changes, I buy me a bottle of PI Performance injector cleaner. I got me 3 quarts of AMSOIL manual transmission and transaxle gear lube. Anytime you do manual transmissions, make sure it's the weight that it requires. And of course my transmission requires API GL4. Alright, it also says on here it's good for Nissan transmissions, Ford, GM, Chrysler, so on and so forth. So I got me 3 quarts of this. Alright, and I got me 6 quarts. The car only takes 5, but I got me 6 because these high rev motors tend to use just a little bit of oil. So I don't know if that's a PVC valve problem or the design of the intake, I'm not sure, but they tend to use a little oil. From what I hear from other YouTube videos and from other Z owners, that is normal for them to use just a little bit of oil. But I got me 6 quarts of this stuff, so in case I need to add some between oil changes. This stuff here you don't have to touch for 25,000 miles or 1 year. It says it right there. And I have put this to the test. I have put this in many vehicles. I had a 95 SC400. I ran this stuff, 10W30, Signature Series AMSOIL. I have ran the crap out of that Lexus, and the oil was still good when I went to go pull it out the pan. So I got me 6 quarts of this. I did get me 2 quarts for the rear diff in this car, but that big SUV right there decided to take all of it. Looked online, it was supposed to take 2 point something quarts. It wound up taking 4 for some stupid reason. I don't know why. The rear end don't even look that big. But, and even with 4 quarts, it still wouldn't come out of the hole. So, and I'm not completely finished with it. I still got to change the axle seal on the transmission, the output shaft. I got the engine oil in, and once I put that new seal in, I gotta pump it with fresh fluid. I went to AutoZone early this morning to pick up a new seal. That's the damage I did pulling it out, but for some reason it kept leaking. The drive shaft was just slinging transmission fluid everywhere. It wasn't leaking that bad, but I don't like fluid leaks. I bought me some seals this morning. I bought me 2 in case I wind up screwing one up, and apparently it's the wrong one. So I mean, it's not even the same diameter. You can see this one's bigger. So another thing too, when you do oil changes, transmission fluid, stuff like that, most people say to run it for a few minutes so the oil will flow easier out the pan. But the only problem with that is when you do that, all your oil is up here. It's then cycled through the motor, cycled through the timing chain, your valve train, your camshafts, everything else. Me, I like to let the car sit overnight and let the oil settle to the bottom so I can make sure I can get all of it out. Same thing with the transmission fluid. That's what I did with that thing, but it's the wrong seal, and it's a little too cold to get on my bike right now. I did it earlier this morning, but I'm not going to do it again. So I went on ahead and started on this. So once I get this done, I'm going to go to AutoZone, get the seal for that thing, put it in, get that done. Next week, I got to buy 3 more quarts, just in case. 3 more quarts for the rear diff of this thing, because that big monstrosity decided to take it all. Thirsty bitch. Pardon my language. Anyway, so I got all the bolts broke loose for the drain, the fuel, and all that. I decided to include y'all in this video. So let's get up underneath here and get started. And also let y'all know I got a little small leak back here along the oil pan gasket. I did pick me up a new oil pan gasket this morning, so I'll be taking this oil pan off and putting a new gasket on it. So, well, let's see. This is the first fluid change I've done since I had this car, because I've been doing everything else. So we're gonna see what the maintenance neglect looks like. Put you right there. Okay. All right. Also, most people recommend anytime you change your oil, I always replace these washers. Alright, for accurate seal, make sure they don't leak. But I usually don't replace them because I really hadn't had no problem with them, but that's just me. But if you want to replace these washers, you'd have to go to your local parts store and get one of these and make sure they're the right size. So see how many quarts this thing's got. So far 4 quarts, and it was a little low, so if it don't hit 5 quarts, that's not surprising, because it was already like half a quart low, maybe a full quart low, because like I said, these things do use oil. But then again, the reason why this thing probably uses more oil than usual is probably because they might have had the wrong weight. Most people like putting 5W30. But where I live, the heat, if the car accepts 1030, I'll put 1030. That SUV, on the other hand, the one I just showed y'all, it says in the book for it to take 5W30, so I'm going to put 5W30 in it. But this car here has 3 different weights of oil it can take. 5W30 is recommended, but only for temps, only if you're going to be in temps below 0. I live down south. It will never get below 0 here. We've never seen below 0. Not since I've been living on this earth. The coldest this place has ever seen was maybe 17 degrees. And I was in a hard winter. The oil ain't too bad, and it don't show any signs of sludge. I did have a problem, however, getting the transmission field plugs loose on the manual transmission over there. But I made sure I broke those loose before I started this video, so I can go ahead and get my cuss words out. That's draining. I'm gonna go ahead and scoot this over a little bit. Like so. I'm gonna set this drain bolt right there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this oil filter. I already got it broke loose, so. Okay, that's a good sign. That's another reason why I like letting my car sit overnight before I drain the oil. That way you can see if your oil filters or your engine has a anti-flowback valve, which is good. Because anytime your motor does not have a anti-flowback valve, that's more prone to having dry starts. Dry starts ain't good. It wears out your rod bearings over time. The only thing I don't like about these Nissans, they have the smallest oil filters I've ever seen on a car anyway. My 2 Altimas that I got rid of, the 2 Altimas I sold, they had small filters as well. That. I see the gasket's still on there, so that's a good sign. Go ahead and throw this away. Trash. Yeah, see, that's the type of fluid that I was gonna put in the differential casing for the Nissan 350Z. I had 4 quarts of this stuff and the SUV took all of it, so. I'm doing that while we're letting that stuff drain. This PI Performance. I'm sure some of y'all use like Seafoam or Lucas fuel injector cleaner, and it says on the back, overtreatment will not hurt. Overtreatment with this stuff will hurt, because this is super concentrated. You only use it once every 4,000 miles. This is the stuff. PI Performance. I've used this and I've actually seen fuel mileage increase on my vehicles I put it through. I have not ran this through my motorcycle yet. I usually put like octane booster. Bumps it up like 3 or 4 octane points. But this stuff here actually works for like fuel mileage. And I don't know if y'all seen in my first or second video of making the Nissan Z project. I showed y'all how backed up the carbon buildup was on the intake valves on cylinder 1. I used power foam to try to help flush that out. And if it didn't get all of it, this will knock it off for sure. So I'm gonna run this through it. I'm gonna have to wait till I fill up though. I looked online, it says that the car has a 20 gallon tank, but I've only been able to put 15. Well, excuse me, 13. And that's what the needle almost on E. So I'm thinking it's a 15 gallon, but I'm gonna run it till the light comes on, and then run it some more, and then we're gonna see. And this is my new oil filter. These AMSOIL filters, most of them are good for 25,000, but this is Nissan, so the only bad thing about these Nissan filters, they're only good for 15,000 miles because of how small they are. So I'm gonna go ahead and the reason why I do my own oil changes, not to just save money, but most oil places, you know what they do? They take this filter and they put it on your motor bone dry. They just spin it on there, pour the oil in the motor, start it up, check the dipstick, boom. And what that does is you hear rods knocking for about 1 or 2 seconds because there's no oil in this filter. So the oil pump is trying to fill this up before oil even gets in the motor. That's why I don't go to oil change places. So that's why I set them there. That's transmission fluid. AMSOIL Signature Series 10W30. Here we go. Take that, throw it to the side. Wait a minute, I had an open bottle somewhere. What I like about this stuff, it's got this sweet smell. That's how you know it's synthetic. Conventional don't have a sweet smell. I always put oil in the filter. Now if it mounts sideways, I always fill it up somewhat so I don't spill oil when I go to put it back on. Lube up the seal real good. Now if the oil filter mounts this way, yeah, fill up till it can't take no more. I always pour a little bit, try to get the filter inside nice and wet. so the rods ain't just dry starting. So while that's sitting, we're gonna go ahead and clean up the oil pan, put the drain bolt back on. Another thing too I'm gonna do next week, I gotta do it on that SUV too. I gotta try to flush the power steering system, because both power steering systems on this car and that SUV over there, the fluid is discolored and the steering is a little tight on this car. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that synthetic transmission fluid, Dextron type ATF. That's what goes in here. So I'm gonna flush that out with some synthetic fluid. I did that in my black Nissan Altima I had, and the steering went from hard to like butter. So that just shows how good AMSOIL works. Alright, so go ahead, stick this plug back in. It takes a 14mm bolt, 14mm socket I meant. Alright, that's on. Let me go ahead. Alright. Cleaned off the... Ow, 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 ow. Okay. Went on ahead and cleaned off the where the oil filter goes. Yeah, see how it mounts sideways? That's why I want to fill the oil filters all the way up, because I don't want to spill oil everywhere. That AMSOIL is like liquid gold. And like I said, if y'all can find an independent dealer in your area, it's actually not that bad. It's about the same price. It's actually about the same price as Mobil 1, Royal Purple, if not cheaper than what you would pay at AutoZone. Because I think Mobil 1 now is like $13 a quart, $13 a quart at AutoZone, and I can get this stuff for $8 or $9 a quart, so which is pretty good. So it pays to try to find you a local dealer. If not, if you don't have a local AMSOIL dealer in your area, what you do is try to find, get on, if you have a computer, get online, go to AMSOIL.com and purchase the wholesale membership, and it's like $25 for a year, and you could buy anything and everything at wholesale price. Like the transmission fluid usually goes for $14, maybe $15 a quart, and you actually get it for $10 or $11 a quart, depending on what you get. So I mean, it's well worth it. So go ahead and I gotta dump my oil pan. I don't know where it went off to. All right. Now, I haven't drained any fluid from the transmission on this car, so y'all gonna see firsthand, just like I see firsthand. Alright. Got my AMSOIL filter on. Okay. Now, let's see what the transmission fluid looks like. I almost forgot a rag. Okay. I had to use this big old Allen wrench to bust these things loose. You got one on the bottom, that's your drain plug. But you do not want to bust this loose and pull it before you bust this loose. That's your fill plug, because you want to make sure you can get this off before you pull this drain plug right here. I had a 92 Plymouth Laser, had a 5-speed. It was a front wheel drive, but it had a 5-speed, and the fill plug stripped. I couldn't get it out. I actually had to get a strip socket to get it out. And had I pulled the drain bolt before I pulled the fill plug, that car had been sitting up for 3 months before I finally got this thing out. So always make sure you can bust these things loose before you drain the fluid out. Because if worse comes to worse, you might have to go to a dealer or bring a car to a shop somewhere. Maybe they can get it out. So, and there goes my washer. It just fell. So, let me post y'all up right here for a second. Alright, set the washer off to the side. My hands. Alright, now move this stuff out the way. We're gonna see what this stuff looks like. Hey, supposed to give me a little trouble. Come on now. Don't fall. Oh, damn. Yep. I splattered. Okay. Surprisingly, it is not black. I suspect this stuff to be black, just like everything else was. Because the brake fluid on this car was not all that great. Engine oil needed to be changed. And being that it had oil leaks, fouled out plugs, I figured they neglected everything else. Oh, what kind of fluid they put in here? Smell like tacos. Yeah. Surprisingly, that stuff ain't black. I expected it to be black. I do know it has a little hard shifts from time to time. It's like a little clunk when you go to shift between gears. But AMSOIL will fix all that. I actually put when I bought my bike brand new, it's a Honda CBR 500. CBR 500R, if you want to be specific. I bought that bike brand new, drove it off the lot, drained oil the first initial 600 miles, and then I put conventional back in it. Honda, I think it was GL4. It's got a JASO rating for wet clutch pack. And after I ran that up to about 1,000 miles, I went on ahead and dropped the oil, and I put some metric 10W30 motorcycle oil. Took 3 quarts. It's got the JASO rating for the wet clutch pack. And after I put that in there, the shifting on it was just so much smoother. A brand new bike, the shifting on it was just like butter. Because with the conventional oil, it was actually kind of hard to shift. I actually found myself, when I was coming up to a red light, I have to sit there and fight with it, trying to go back down through all the gears before I can get to neutral. Because it's 1 down and 5 up. That's the shift pattern. And it's a 6-speed mesh transmission is what they call it. And I put that AMSOIL in there, and it shifts so much smoother. Now, some of y'all are probably wondering, how am I going to fill the fluid back in, because it's kind of hard to run a line down with a funnel. But I'm going to show y'all the tool that I bought from AMSOIL, because it was actually cheaper at AMSOIL than to buy them at AutoZone. And they come with more stuff in the kit. AMSOIL does sell certain tools too. Just all depends on what you're looking for. So while that's draining, I'm gonna show you all my tools that I use when I'm doing manual transmissions. This little mechanism right here, bought it from AMSOIL. It fits. It's made to fit on most AMSOIL bottles, like these little 1-quart bottles right here. It's not made to use for engine oil, because most engine oil has caps. You just use a funnel. But for like gear lube, manual transmissions, or if you have a transmission, automatic transmission that doesn't have a dipstick, like this SUV here, it's got a field plug you undo for the transmission. You take this, take the cap off, stick it in there, screw it on there. It comes with this long rubber hose. You stick that into the field hole, and make sure you're holding on, because this thing will pop off. Hold on to this end, and you just sit there and push up and down. You just push like that, keep pumping, and actually suck the oil out of the bottle and put it into where you wanted to pump it. So very handy tool, a lot easier to use than running a long hose down through your firewall into the transmission with a funnel. So it's a lot easier using this. Very handy. So unfortunately I won't be able to film this because it does get quite messy. Last time I was using this, it slipped out of my hands and shot off, and I had gear lube everywhere. I had to clean it up. I really don't want to get it on my phone because it's a Galaxy S6, and smartphones and grease does not work good together. So, but just to show y'all what I've done, also y'all seen the fluids. Yesterday I went on ahead and I flushed both the brake system and the clutch system. The clutch system was tricky. I used a Presto synthetic. I would use AMSOIL, but probably in the next few months or so I'll probably be changing the master cylinder and the slave cylinder for the clutch system. That's when I'll go with the .3 AMSOIL synthetic brake fluid. But for now, I went on ahead and used Presto to try to get a little bit more life out of the slave cylinder and the master cylinder. So, but I went on ahead and flushed that. That was kind of tricky. I went on ahead and flushed the system out of this. What I had to do, I had to suck the fluid out, pour new fluid in, and bleed the whole system. What I did to flush the master cylinder with fresh brake fluid, I bled it from this front driver side wheel until I saw clear fluid coming out. Once I did that, I know the front caliper and the master cylinder was clean. So after I did that, then I went and did the other 3 calipers, and after they come out clear, the whole system's flush, even the ABS module. So because the brake fluid's got to pass through there anyway. So went on ahead and did that. It actually stops a little better. Shifting is about the same, but the clutch pedal is still a little mushy from time to time. So but just to let y'all know what I've done to it so far, I'll probably make a video maybe next week once I get my differential fluid in to do the rear end of this car. And once I do that, once I get it in, I'll make a video of it. But just to show y'all, if y'all ever need to do a fluid flush, your drain bolt's gonna be up here. Always make sure you can bust this loose first before you drain your fluid, because if not, worst comes to worst, you might have to take it to a shop, and I'm sure you really don't want to have to drop this whole thing to bring it somewhere to get them to take this off. So be sure you can bust this loose first and then bust this loose. That's your drain plug. Now what you want to do is you don't get fluid everywhere. I jack it up, put your jack stand on that spring right there, and the jack stand on this spring right here. Hold it in place, pop your field plug off, pop your drain bolt, and it'll drain right in the right into the drain pan. So, but I ain't gonna be able to do that till next week, and I don't know if I'll do it today. Maybe next weekend I might do it. Pop these axle shafts off and put some lube on the ends of the splines that go into the wheel, so stop that clicking noise when I take off from slow speeds. So, and the reason why I use grease, in case these things happen to go out, they'll be easier to change than the fighting with Loctite. So, but that's all I have for you guys today. I'll make a video when my ballast come in for my HID headlights. Once those come in, I'll make a video about it once I get them working. And until then, I think that's all I have. And just stay tuned for the next video. And I'll show y'all how to do the fluid flushing these things. And I'll let y'all see the colors of fluid, so see what neglect looks like. Until then, peace out. God bless. Y'all be safe.